Rembrandt's masterpiece, The Night Watch, is not just any old painting of soldiers. Completed in 1642, it broke all the rules for group portraits of its time. Before Rembrandt, such paintings were often very still and formal. Soldiers would stand in neat rows, looking serious and important, almost like a school photograph. Everyone paid to be in the picture, so everyone expected to be seen clearly. Rembrandt, however, decided to do something completely different. He wanted to show the energy and spirit of the militia company, not just their faces. This painting was a revolution in art, a bold statement that a portrait could be full of life and action. The most striking thing about The Night Watch is its use of light and shadow, a technique called chiaroscuro. Rembrandt was a master of this. He uses light like a spotlight on a stage, picking out certain figures and details from the surrounding darkness. Captain Franz Bonink Koch stands at the center, his hand seeming to reach out of the canvas, while his lieutenant, Willem van Ruytenberg, is bathed in a golden glow. This dramatic lighting creates a sense of depth and mystery. It guides our eyes through the busy scene, forcing us to look where Rembrandt wants us to look. It makes the painting feel alive, as if we are witnessing a real moment just as it happens. Instead of a static lineup, Rembrandt painted a scene of controlled chaos. The men of the Cloveniers militia are not posing, they are getting ready to march. One man is loading his musket, another is beating a drum, and others are talking and moving about. There is a sense of urgency and noise. You can almost hear the drum beat, the clang of metal, and the shouted commands. This feeling of movement was unheard of for a formal group portrait. Rembrandt dared to capture the messiness of real life, turning a commissioned painting into a powerful work of historical drama. He was telling a story, not just painting faces. This decision was risky. Some of the men who paid for the portrait were pushed into the background, lost in the shadows. They were not happy about being minor characters in Rembrandt's grand vision. But this is precisely what makes the painting so special. It is a snapshot of a moment, filled with individual actions that come together to create a single, powerful narrative. Rembrandt wasn't just a painter, he was a director, arranging his cast of characters to create the most dramatic effect possible. He showed the world that a group portrait could be as exciting and dynamic as a battle scene, forever changing the way artists approach their subjects. Tucked away in the lower right corner of this grand and bustling scene is a small, often overlooked detail, a little dog. Amidst the marching soldiers, the beating drums, and the general commotion, this furry creature adds its own small piece of energy to the masterpiece. The dog is caught mid-bark, its body tense and its tail a blur of motion. It seems to be yapping at the drummer, who is busy creating a thunderous noise right next to it. This isn't a noble hunting hound or a pampered lapdog. It's a scruffy, common little dog, the kind you might see running through the streets of 17th century Amsterdam. The dog's presence is a stroke of genius. It contributes significantly to the painting's sense of sound and movement. While the drum provides the loud, official rhythm of the militia, the dog's frantic barking adds a layer of everyday chaotic noise. It grounds the grand, historic moment in reality. The soldiers are important men on a mission, but life, in all its noisy and messy glory, continues around them. The dog's inclusion makes the scene feel less like a stuffy portrait and more like a real event unfolding before our eyes. It is a small detail, but it helps to make the entire canvas vibrate with life. Art historians have long wondered about this little dog. Why did Rembrandt include it? Was it simply a detail to fill the space, or did it have a deeper meaning? Some have suggested it symbolizes disorder or warns of impending danger. Its bark's a sign of alarm. Others believe it is a playful touch, a bit of humor amidst the serious business of the militia. In a painting where every figure seems to have a purpose, the dog's role has remained a minor mystery. It is a part of the painting's rich texture, a detail that adds to its endless fascination and invites us to look closer. The dog's blurry appearance is also important. Rembrandt painted it with quick, energetic brushstrokes, making it look like it is in constant motion. This style contrasts with the more detailed rendering of the main figures. This difference in technique enhances the feeling of action. The dog is not posing for a portrait. It is reacting to the noise and confusion of the moment. By capturing this fleeting action, Rembrandt once again shows his incredible skill at making a static image feel dynamic. The little dog is a perfect example of how Rembrandt used every inch of his canvas to build a world that feels completely alive. The story of Rembrandt's little dog took an exciting turn recently, thanks to the sharp eyes of a museum curator. While studying the vast collection of the Rijksmuseum, where the Night Watch is housed, a curator was looking through drawings by other Dutch artists of the same period. They came across a chalk drawing by an artist named Adriaen van de Venne. The drawing, a preparatory sketch for a different painting, featured a lively scene with figures and animals. And there, in the corner of van de Venne's work, was a small, barking dog that looked astonishingly familiar. It was almost a perfect match for the dog in the Night Watch. Adriaen van de Venne was a contemporary of Rembrandt, another artist working in the bustling Dutch art world of the 17th century. His drawing, created around 1625, predates the Night Watch by more than 15 years. The discovery was a revelation. It suggested that Rembrandt, the great and original master, may not have invented his little dog out of thin air. Instead, it seems he saw, remembered, and then adapted the dog from another artist's work. This finding opened up a whole new line of inquiry into Rembrandt's creative process and the way artists shared ideas during that time. This kind of discovery is what makes art history so thrilling. It shows that even the most studied paintings in the world can still hold secrets. For centuries, millions of people have looked at the Night Watch, but it took a dedicated expert, carefully examining a lesser-known drawing, to spot this connection. It reminds us that a masterpiece is not created in isolation. It is part of a larger conversation between artists, a web of influences, inspirations, and shared visual language. The curator's find was like discovering a hidden note in the margin of a famous book, offering a fresh perspective on a well-known story. The news of this connection sent ripples through the art world. It was not a scandal, but a fascinating insight. It did not diminish Rembrandt's genius. Rather, it made him more human. It showed him as an artist who was actively engaged with the world around him, an artist who kept his eyes open for interesting details he could use in his own work. The discovery was a testament to the importance of museum collections and the patient, detailed work of curators who act as detectives, piecing together clues from the past to give us a clearer picture of how art is made. When we compare the two dogs, the one in van de Venne's drawing and the one in Rembrandt's painting, the similarities are undeniable. Both are small, shaggy dogs, captured in a moment of frantic barking. They share the same tense posture, the same open mouth, and the same sense of agitated energy. It is clear that one is based on the other. However, they are not identical copies. Rembrandt made subtle but significant changes. He adapted the dog to fit the specific mood and composition of the Night Watch. The lighting on Rembrandt's dog, for example, is more dramatic, with strong highlights that make it stand out from the shadows. The differences are just as important as the similarities. Rembrandt's brushwork is looser and more expressive, giving his dog a blurrier, more dynamic quality that enhances the feeling of movement. Van de Venne's dog is drawn more precisely, a clear study of an animal. Rembrandt's dog is an element of pure action. This shows us something crucial about his method. He was not a simple copyist. He was a collector of ideas, a visual borrower who took an element he liked and transformed it, making it entirely his own. He absorbed the world around him and filtered it through his unique artistic vision. In the 17th century, this practice of borrowing and adapting from other artists was completely normal. Originality was not defined by inventing everything from scratch, as it often is today. Artists learned by copying the works of masters, and they often kept sketchbooks filled with drawings of interesting figures, animals, and compositions they saw in other works. These visual notes were a shared resource. An artist might borrow a pose for a figure, the design of a costume, or, in this case, the image of a barking dog. It was a way of participating in a creative dialogue, building upon the ideas of those who came before. This discovery beautifully enriches our understanding of the Night Watch and of Rembrandt himself. It pulls back the curtain on his creative process, showing us an artist at work. We see him not as a solitary genius, but as a master craftsman who was part of a vibrant artistic community, constantly observing and learning. The little dog is no longer just a quirky detail. It is a clue that connects Rembrandt to his contemporaries and reveals his working methods. It proves that even after nearly 400 years, these timeless masterpieces still have new stories to tell, waiting for a curious eye to uncover them.